Stop being soft for everyone. Ladies and gentlemen, let me tell you something. Being soft for everyone every day is not a strategy for success. You can't win a race while carrying everybody on your back. You know why? Because there's a big difference between being respected and being liked. And too many people out here be liked by everyone. But let me ask you this. Have you ever seen a successful person who bends over backwards trying to please every single person they meet? No. You don't get anywhere by being soft for everyone. Respect this. Pleasing? Let's talk about respect versus pleasing. And trust me, there's a world of difference between the two. Too many people out here today are confusing the idea of my being respected. Listen, pleasing people might get you a few smiles, a pat on the back, maybe even a thank you here and there, but that's about it. Respect. That's a whole different ball game. Respect will open doors that trying to please people will slam shut in your face. You know why? Because when you're focused on pleasing everyone, you're putting your worth in their hands. You're constantly bending, twisting, and reshaping yourself just to make sure nobody gets upset. Nobody feels uncomfortable, and nobody's feelings get hurt. But let me tell you something. You can't make everybody happy. And the minute you try to, you lose yourself in the process. You lose the core of who you are because you're too busy playing to everyone else's tune. Now, respect. Oh, that's something you earn not by pleasing, but by standing firm in who you are. People might not always like what you say or do, but they'll respect you for having the guts to stand up for what you believe in. When you operate from a place of respect, you don't need to tiptoe around people's egos or keep everybody comfortable. You say what needs to be said, you do what needs to be done, and people recognize that strength. Let me tell you something, nobody respects a people pleaser. Think about the folks you look up to, the ones you admire. Are they out here bending over backwards, losing sleep, running ragged just to make sure everyone likes them? Absolutely not. They're moving with purpose, staying true to who they are, and standing tall and in their truth. That's how you get respect. When you're focused on pleasing everyone, you're living for them. You're playing by their rules. But respect comes when you live for yourself, when you own your decisions. You set the terms, and guess what? So stop chasing likes, stop chasing approval, and start chasing respect. Respect lasts a lifetime, but pleasing people, that's temporary, it's fleeting. Stand up for yourself. Let me tell you something. Standing up for yourself is not just an option. It's a requirement if you want to make it in this world. You can't sit back, keep your mouth shut, and expect people to treat you the way you deserve. Life just doesn't work like that. You've got to take ownership of who you are, what you believe in, and what you stand for, or you'll get bulldozed by everybody else's agenda. Listen, but it doesn't work that way, does it? You can't let fear of rejection, fear of confrontation, or fear of losing people keep you from speaking up. People will only treat you the way you allow them to. Standing up for yourself isn't about being rude or arrogant. It's about knowing your value. It's about saying I deserve better. And I'm not just talking about relationships. I'm talking about at work with your friends and your family. If you're not advocating for yourself, if you're not making your voice heard, nobody else is going to do it for you. Now, let's get something straight. Standing up for yourself doesn't mean you have to fight every battle. It means you pick the right ones, the battles that matter. And let me tell you, sometimes the hardest battle is just saying no. Someone by all are out here saying yes to everything, to everyone. And now you're exhausted, frustrated, and feeling overlooked. Saying no isn't selfish. It's self-respect. It's taking control of your life. People will test you. Life will test you. It'll put obstacles in your way just to see if you're going to back down or rise up. And when those moments come, you've got to stand tall and declare, I'm worth more than this. You can't let people's opinions define you. You can't let their expectations box you in. You know what's worse than standing up for yourself and making someone uncomfortable, not standing up for yourself and making yourself uncomfortable for the rest of your life. That's a prison you don't want to live in. You will regret every moment you didn't speak up, every chance you didn't take to defend who you are and what you want. You've got to get to a point where you're so confident in who you are, so secure in your value, that you don't need everyone's approval. When you stand up for yourself, people will start to see you differently. They'll start to realize, hey, this person isn't someone I can just take advantage of. And here's the truth. The moment you stand up for yourself, you'll be tested even more. People will push back, they'll resist, because they're used to the version of you that stays quiet, that complies. But you've got to hold your ground. Don't fold just because it gets uncomfortable. Growth happens in discomfort, not in staying silent and shrinking to make other people happy. Standing up for yourself is about taking responsibility for your life. It's about deciding that you are in control of your destiny. It's about saying I matter, my dreams matter, my voice matters. And once you start living with that mindset, there's no limit to what you can achieve. Boundaries build strength. Let me tell you something about boundaries. They are your superpower. You see, without boundaries, people will take until there's nothing left of you but an empty shell. And trust me, you can't pour from an empty cup. You can't keep giving when you've got nothing left. The problem is a lot of folks out here are scared to set boundaries because they think it'll make them look mean or cold. But let me tell you this. The people who get mad at your boundaries are the very ones who benefited from you not having any. You've got to get comfortable with the word no. I mean real comfortable. That 2-letter word will save your life, save your sanity, and most of all, it will save your energy. When you say no, you're not being rude. You're being responsible. You're saying I respect myself enough to protect what matters to me. And believe me, the right people will respect you more for it. Here's the thing about boundaries. They don't just keep the wrong things out. They keep the right things in. When you set boundaries, you're telling the world, I know my worth and I won't sell for less. And when you start moving like that, with that confidence, you start attracting people who respect your space, your time, and your energy. Let me tell you another truth. Boundaries build strength because they're a form of self-discipline. So think about it. When you've got boundaries, you're in control. You're not saying yes to every invitation, every request, every favor. You're not running around trying to fix everybody else's problems while neglecting your own. You're managing your time, your emotions, and your life like a pro. And that takes strength. That takes discipline. Now, don't get it twisted. Setting boundaries isn't always easy. You'll feel the pressure. People will test you, and somebody will walk away because they can't handle the new version of you. But guess what? That's a good thing. The people who leave because you're setting boundaries, they were only there to drain you anyway. Boundaries aren't just about keeping people in check, though. They're about holding yourself accountable, too. You can't just expect others to respect your boundaries if you don't respect them yourself. If you say you're not working after 6 p.m., then guess what? No more emails, no more phone calls. You've got to honor your own rules. That's where the real strength comes in. Discipline and sticking to what you've set for yourself. And here's the best part. When you start setting those boundaries and sticking to them, you're going to feel stronger. You're going to feel more in control of your life. That's because boundaries aren't walls. They're foundations. They're what you stand on to build your best self, your best life. Without boundaries, just going with the flow, letting other people's needs and demands wash over you like a tide. But with boundaries, you're a rock, unmovable, unshakable. Boundaries don't make you less caring. They make you stronger in your care, stronger in your ability to show up for the people who matter, for the dreams that matter, and most of all, for you. So stop feeling guilty about it. Stop second-guessing it. Draw the line, set the boundary, and watch your strength grow. Self-worth over validation. Now, let me tell you something about self-worth versus validation. And listen to me when I say this. Stop waiting for other people to tell you who you are. Too many people out here are walking around like they're lost because they're so caught up in seeking validation from others. They're chasing approval like it's some kind of golden ticket. They need that pat on the back that you're doing great, that applause from the crowd just to feel like they're enough. But let me ask you something. What happens when the applause stops, when nobody's cheering for you? Do you still feel good about yourself? Because that's the real question. You see, when you're chasing validation, you're giving people power over your happiness. You're saying, I can't feel good about me. 1 minute they're with you, and the next they're on to something else. And if you've been relying on that validation, you're going to be crushed the moment it's gone. But self-worth, oh, that's something nobody can take away from you. Self-worth comes from within. It's when you look in the mirror and say, I am enough as I am. I don't need anyone else to tell me I'm good because I already know it. So the kind of confidence that makes you unstoppable. When you know your people's opinions don't faze you. Criticism, it rolls off your back. Compliments, you appreciate them, but you don't need them to feel whole. Here's the thing. Validation is like a drug. The more you get, the more you need. You start living for those likes, for those comments, for that approval. And before you know it, you're not even living your own life anymore. You'll live a life built on other people's expectations, other people's dreams for you. And let me tell you, nothing will steer your joy faster than trying to live up to what they want. But when you know your worth, you live life on your terms. You set your own rules. You chase your own dreams, not somebody else's version of them. People can only validate what they see, but your self-worth, that's about what you know deep down. It's about your potential, your power, your purpose, and nobody sees all of that. They can't. So why would you give people the authority to measure you based on what they think they know when you're out here knowing yourself better than anybody else? Now, don't get me wrong, validation feels good. We all want to be appreciated. We all want to hear good job or you're amazing. But if that's what you're relying on to feel worthy, you're building your confidence on shaky ground. The moment someone doesn't approve, you're going to feel like your whole world is crumbling. And that's why self-worth is so powerful, because when you've got self-worth, you're rooted, you're grounded. You don't get shaken by every little opinion that comes your way. And let me tell you this, people are going to talk no matter what. Some will praise you, some will criticize you, but none of that defines you unless you let it. You've got to stop putting your happiness in the hands of people who don't even know what it took for you to get where you are. You've got to stop giving folks the power to make you feel small when you were born to be great. The only validation you need is from you. When you wake up in the morning, ask yourself, am I proud of who I am today? Am I walking in my purpose? If the answer is yes, that's all the validation you need. Forget what everybody else thinks because their opinions aren't paying your bills. They're not living your life and they're not walking in your shoes. So let me leave you with this. You are enough exactly as you are. You don't need anybody to tell you that. And know your worth, believe in it, and watch how your life changes when you stop chasing validation and start standing in your self-worth. Till love is real love. Let's talk about tough love. And let me tell you something straight. Tough love is the realest love you're ever going to get. Now, I know some folks hear tough love and think it means being mean, harsh, or aren't supporters. But no. That's not what it's about. Tough love is a love that tells you the truth when nobody else will. It's the love that doesn't sugarcoat things to keep you comfortable. Because here's the thing, comfort won't push you forward, but tough love, oh, it'll get you where you need to go. Now, real love isn't always about making you feel good in the moment. Sometimes it's about making you face the hard truth so you can grow. Tough love says, I'm not going to let you settle. I'm not going to let you stay stuck. I see more in you. I'm going to push you to be the best version of yourself, even if it means making you uncomfortable. And that's the key right there. Growth comes from discomfort. Let me give you an example. Think about when you were a kid and your parents had to discipline you. They didn't do it because they didn't love you. They did it because they did love you. They knew you needed guidance. Sometimes guidance felt good. It felt good, but it was necessary. They weren't just going to let you run wild and make a mess of your life. That's tough love. And let me be real with you. It takes courage to give tough love. It's easy to tell people what they want to hear. It's easy to let someone keep making the same mistakes because you don't want to hurt their feelings. But that's not love. That's avoidance. Real love says, I care enough to tell you what's hard to hear because I want to see you grow. I want to see you win. That's the love that sticks with you, the love that shapes you into a better person. But here's the thing about tough loves. It's not just something you give to others. You've got to give it to yourself too. Sometimes you've got to look in the mirror and say, I need to do better. That's tough love. It's holding yourself accountable. It's setting standards for yourself and refusing to settle for less. You've got to be willing to push yourself, even when it's hard, because nobody else can do that work for you. And let me tell you, tough love isn't about tearing people down. It's about building them up. It's about saying, I see your potential and I'm not going to let you waste it. When someone gives you tough love, they're not criticizing you because they don't care. They're pushing you because they do care. They see greatness in you and they're not going to let you take the easy way out. But here's what a lot of folks get wrong. Tough love has to come from a place of love, not anger, not frustration, but love. It's got to be constructive. If all you're doing is tearing someone down without helping them build back up, that's not love. That's just being hurtful. Tough love should challenge you, but it should also support you. And let's be real to tough. Love doesn't always feel good in the moment. It stings. It might even make you mad at first. But once you get past that, once you really let it sink in, that's when the growth happens. That's when you start to realize, man, they were right. I needed to hear that. And when you look back, you'll be thankful for it, because that tough love is what helped you reach the next level. So whether you're giving tough love or receiving it, remember this: tough love is a love that believes in your potential, even when you can't see it yourself. It's a love that refuses to let you give up or settle for less than you deserve. It's the love that says, I want you to win and I'll win to help you get there, even if it means telling you what you don't want to hear. Tough love is the realest love you'll be able to ever know. Because it doesn't just love you as you are, it loves you enough to push you toward who you're meant to be. Fearless, not careless. Let's break down what it means to be fearless, not careless, because a lot of people get these two twisted up. Now, being fearless, that's what we're talking about when you step into a challenge with courage, when you face the unknown with your head held high, when you take a leap of faith because you believe in what you're doing, even when it's scary. That's fearless. But being careless, oh, that's when you're reckless, when you're jumping into situations without thinking, when you're just out here winging it without a plan, and that's not the same thing. See, fearless means you move with intention. You know what you want, and you're not going to let fear stop you from going after it. Fearless people calculate the risks, but they don't let those risks hold them back. They prepare themselves. They arm themselves with the right tools, the right mindset, and the right energy. So when they step into the ring, they're ready to handle whatever comes their way. Careless, though, that's when you're charging into something without even thinking about the consequences. You're just throwing caution to the wind without a plan, hoping things will work out. But hope ain't a strategy. Carelessness gets you into trouble because it's all impulse, no strategy. And listen, life's too unpredictable for you to be careless with it. You can't afford to be reckless with your choices, your actions, or your future. Being fearless means you understand the risks, but you trust yourself enough to handle them. You've done the work. You prepared yourself, and you're not letting fear of failure or fear of the unknown keep you from taking that step. Fearlessness is about having faith in yourself, faith in the process, faith that no matter what happens, you're going to be all right, because you know you've got what it takes to keep going. But careless is thinking I don't need to prepare. I'll figure it out as I go. And sure, that might work sometimes, but you don't want to make a habit of that. Carelessness puts you in situations where you're not equipped to handle the fallout, and then you end up in a mess wondering, how did I get here? You got there because you weren't thinking ahead. You weren't being intentional about your moves. Now, don't get me wrong. Being fearless doesn't mean you won't ever fail. You will. But when you fail from a place of fearlessness, you learn from it. You grow from it. Because fearless people don't see failure as the end. They see it as part of the journey. Careless people, on the other hand, keep making the same mistakes because they're not learning. They're just reacting. They're moving too fast without thinking things through. So the next time you're about to take a step, ask yourself, am I moving with fearlessness or with carelessness? Am I ready for the consequences of this choice? Am I prepared for whatever comes next? Because fearless means you're not afraid to take the risk, but you're smart enough to have a plan. You're confident enough to know that even if things don't go as expected, you'll figure it out because you've got the foundation to handle it. Fearless people don't avoid the tough conversations, the difficult decisions, or the uncomfortable situations. They face them head on, but they do so with wisdom, with thoughtfulness, and with a game plan. Careless people avoid planning, avoid thinking ahead, and hope everything just falls into place. And hope ain't a plan, folks. So be bold, be fearless, but never be careless. Know when to take the leap and know how to prepare for the landing. Fearlessness is about facing life's challenges with strength and clarity, while carelessness will leave you stumbling through life, wondering what went wrong. You don't want that. Be fearless in your pursuit of greatness, but be mindful and intentional every step of the way. That's how you win the game. Conclusion. So here's the bottom line. It's time to stop being soft for everyone, but it's time to respect yourself enough to stand up for your own needs, to set boundaries that protect your peace, and to stop chasing validation from people who don't define your worth. Being fearless doesn't mean being reckless. It means moving with purpose and strength, knowing you've got what it takes to face whatever comes your way. Tough love is real love, both for yourself and from others, because it pushes you to grow. And through it all, at the end of the day, your life is yours to build. You don't wait for anyone else to give you permission to be great. Go out there and claim it. Now get up, get out there and make things happen, because nobody's going to do it for you. That's on you. It's time to stop being soft, start being strong, and live life on your own terms.